And then you came down in August. Oh, it was August of '94. That's when. No, I'm sorry. August '95. You met Glenn Jacobs.
Because that's. I have a picture on the wall of my office at home that of me and you at ringside from that time, and you autographed it to me. It said, "To Paul Bearer from your next client."
Yeah.
Thank God that hasn't happened.
What did you see when you first saw Glenn Jacobs Kane, who was Unabomb then? I mean, everybody saw it, that he was the next big thing. But what did you see specifically?
It was that proverbial it, that we all talk about. He has it.
And his work wasn't that good then. And I think Glenn will say that. But he's still
his size and just his personality. One of the nicest guys ever, Well, and too nice.
Everybody was, he's big. How bad can he be? He's big. You can be really bad. If you're really big and you're really bad, you can be really bad. You can stink if you're big still. But Glenn was almost 7 feet tall and great body, but at the same time he could move around. And he's like a puppy with big paws. You knew he was going to grow into it. And we've seen so many people, we could tell the difference between a guy who was just big and going to plod along and not really go anywhere, and a guy who was big and really could move in the ring and was taken to it and was getting better. And everybody saw that in Glenn, and so, I guess I had him like 6 months and he was gone, but he went on to greener pastures.
Oh, we ran back to the Vince, you've got to see this guy.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Mark worked with him, and
that's why I booked the match to begin with.
He's got it. So, they sent him to school real quick and he became a dentist.
Yeah.
Right? Didn't he become a dentist?
Yeah, Dr. Isaac
Yankum. Did he work on your teeth?
Yeah, and you can also have it and lose part of it. But if
He found it. Again,
and then, diesel.
Exactly, we're headed that way.
But the third time's the charm.
He was my son. Oh, and I'm so proud of him.
Okay, is there a genealogy tree or a lineage path or whatever? You've been Kane's father, his brother, his sister, Undertaker's father. Undertaker and Kane have been brothers, half brothers, step brothers, the Christian brothers, Brooks brothers.
I told this story one time before, and I'm not trying to sell it, certainly not. Yes, maybe I am trying to sell them because I get residuals from it. The new History of the Undertaker DVD that just was recently released.
Oh, yeah.
This is on there. I was sitting in the locker room with Jerry Lawler, and just like we are right now, and Jerry says, "Percy," he says, "Tell me, what was it like the night you and Taker's mama did the nasty, And I was just a kid. I was working at the Taker's mom and daddy's funeral home. I was an apprentice mortician at the funeral home there for the Undertaker. Paul Bearer was, And I was sitting in the kitchen late one night.
So she was like Mrs. Robinson.
Yeah, the old man was out there. The Undertaker, little Marky the Calloway back in those days, he wasn't but about 7 or 8 years old. He was just a baby. And the old man Undertaker, he was out of town on a funeral convention or something, and I was alone in the funeral home with, which I'd been many times, with Undertaker's mother. I just finished embalming the bodies about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. We're sitting there.
She had nothing else to do.
She was in her house coat and had her hair up in rollers and stuff, and sitting there having a bologna sandwich, and she started moving over closer to me.
Bologna and embalming fluid.
Yeah, exactly.
I can hear my stomach rumbling already.
You just don't know until you've tried it. You just don't know. There's nothing like a cold one at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm not talking about beer either. She wasn't cold. She warmed up after a while.
Oh, that's
but anyway, she slid on over next to me and put her arms around me, and things started going. In fact, as I said, if you see that interview, poor Miss Undertaker, she had one foot was in L.A. and one was in Helena. And all of a sudden, I hear some feet coming down the stairs. Here comes little Undertaker running downstairs. Mama, Mama, Mama! And he stopped it down, and what a sight he saw! And next thing you know, 9 months later, here come baby Kane. So that's how Kane was conceived. I mean, she took my cherry. I was just a young. I went to church every weekend. I was just a young man, 18 years old. I was fresh as a daisy, didn't know nothing about it. That woman molested me, took my cherry, took the fruit of my loins, and delivered Cain. And then he got burnt on the fire. And I got all the heat from it, and Taker's the one that burnt the place down.
Well, now that's another thing.
Yes.
He found out all along it was Undertaker.
It was him. He
that caused that fire.
That's all right. I had to take.
But for years you were blamed.
I took the heat. That was fine. I was getting a good paycheck for taking that heat. You know, that's fine. I even went out and dug up old man Undertaker and old lady Undertaker, and dug their bodies up and brought them out. And Kane slammed Taker into the casket. Where's his mama's casket? Bless her heart, but she still had a smile on her face, and I think I know why. Go ahead.
I'm just wondering, in all seriousness, after that,
Seriousness.
the Buried Alive match, which was a classic gimmick match, I thought, for Undertaker. I enjoyed those, actually, because it was somewhat preposterous, but yet at the same time it was cool because it was Undertaker. I always gave Undertaker a lot of leeway in my mind, that he could get away with stuff that nobody else could get away with.
Absolutely.
The Buried Alive match was great. The Hell in a Cell match was great, but do you think, as not only Undertaker started trying to reinvent himself in the late 90s, but also the family lineage stories got more convoluted, do you think, did that take the edge off of him for a while till he got refocused?
Sure. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know, because I think people started, it was hard for him to keep track of what the heck was going on. Yeah.
Like I was talking about the young man earlier I was speaking to. He put some things in perspective for me, but I'm confused. It confused me. And if I'm confused and I'm part of the deal, how do the fans feel about it all? Because writers would leave, writers would come and go. The Hollywood writers come in, Vince Russo come in, and then, and then, gosh, and unfortunately, I was lucky that my stuff, and Taker's stuff really was never scripted. You know, and the interviews that we did, it was never scripted.
And he was lucky he had the pull, the wherewithal to veto something like that if it would happen anyway, because that's, to me, The Undertaker was one of the golden geese, one of the grand golden geese. Undertaker, Austin, Rock, Foley at that point in time. And that was starting to take the edge off Taker, and I think finally he got it back when, I think the less is more thing with it, when they started trying to change the outfits and bring the motorcycle in and all the other stuff. I think when he got back to what they wanted to see, which was a new twist on the old dead man, I think that's when he finally got the stroke back and got
and
things.
They still want to see that original. I get it all the time. When we came back at WrestleMania 20, they thought they were going to get to see the original dead man, which they did. And they got to see a little bit. And
it's kind of a new twist on the old.
They still want to see the old original purple gloves, the gray boot covers, and they still want that. And I hear it all the time. Do you ever think he's going to do that? Do you? And I think before he retires, if and when he decides to retire, I don't know when it's going to possibly would be, that we'll see that before it's all said and done. That might be the last picture you see of him.
It's got to be resurrected.
That might be the last picture you see is the first thing that you saw of that character. And I'm getting goosebumps. And I still get them, so that means it's good.
Now, was the concrete cold when you were slabbed?
Oh. It was horrible.
Were you the first person ever assassinated on live pay-per-view?
I wasn't killed, though. They never killed anybody on WWF.
That's right. They don't do murder or rape.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, they didn't kill me.
So you were just submerged in a concrete block and solidified there.
They got me out.
At a later date off the air, you were gotten out and sent to the Federal Witness Protection
Program. As soon as the pay-per-view was off the air, the paramedics got me out and was sucking concrete out of my bodily orifices and rushing me to the hospital. And I had to stay in the hospital for a while, but I kicked out. Paul Bearer's not dead. And as long as there's an Undertaker and a Kane, Paul Bearer's never going to be dead. And as long as there's fans out there that enjoyed what we've done through the years, Paul Bearer's never going to die.
Well, actually, it would be even spookier now if you came back after all that they've done to you. And you could resurrect yourself and have even more.
Yeah, have a Q-tip, concrete coming out of my ears, and
sneeze and gravel fly. What were you doing? Okay,